All right, here we go, live demo. All right, who wants to see this? All right, so first up, we've got an existing project set up. I'm not going to let you guys watch us set up a project. That's pretty boring. We want to give you the highlights. Okay, and we've got an existing application. So this is the existing application here. My beautiful assistant over here, Leo, sitting here, is just clicking through and just showing this is a very simple application. It's very wireframey. Just to, so everyone's aware, this application is live up in the AWS cloud. Okay, across two hosted zones with a full redundant backup system and all the things you want from a production environment. Okay, so there's our existing application. All right, so back over to Codebots. Okay, quick navigation tour down the left-hand side. Up the top, the first thing you see is where it says platform. Under platform there, you'll be able to access the two other pillars of Codebots, being the academy and the community, and we'll talk more about them a little bit later on. Next up is the name of the project. So what do we call our first project? Oh yeah, we're a bunch of geeks. We call it Hello World, of course. Next up, we got our dashboard, and that's where the captains, where everybody gets to come and see the health of their software. Next along, we've got management. So inside that section is where you're going to find that text we were talking about in the actual pitch at the beginning. So how do we manage the backlog, the things that the actual application is going to do? Then we've got development. Inside development, there's sort of two areas. You've got your diagramming, so that's the area where we're going to do all that whiteboarding and drawing about what the software actually does. And you also got testing, because no software is complete without testing. All right, and finally down the bottom we've got environments, which we're going to later on show a live deploy up into AWS. And on the right hand side, finally, and this is one of the most exciting bits that's going to happen over the next few years, is we've actually got an integrated chat system. So inside here, okay, you'll be able to chat with your other team members who are working on the project. Okay, but most importantly, you'll also be able to chat with your Codebot that's working in your project. So the Codebot will jump in on your chat with your team members and take instructions from your team and perform those right there from within the chat channel. And there you can see Lampbot chatting away. Okay, all right, let's have a look at the diagramming. Now this is one of the most powerful parts of the system. Okay, so the bot we're using at the moment, that little spinny guy there, is called Lampbot. Lampbot writes to a LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP, and we're going to be developing a range of bots that write to different technology stacks. We've actually done 7 so far since our inception, so we've got lots of these little bots depending on what your target technology stack would be. Okay, so this diagramming here for Lampbot, one of the things that we've identified is everybody loves wireframes. Okay, what is the actual application going to look like? So this is a full wireframing system. Now we've built this from the ground up. It's using a technology called 3JS. So we are not limited to what we can put into this diagramming other than our imagination. Okay, so that's no third-party tool. This is straight over WebGL, which sits on top of OpenGL, so we have direct access, almost direct access to the graphics card, which is very exciting. So what Leo's going to do here, if he hasn't done so already, he's going to add in some changes to the diagramming for our application. So at the moment, I think he's adding in, what are you adding in there, mate? Okay, so he's adding some text fields, some various things there. All right, so now we're changing what the application's going to do. Okay, at this point, we look at this, we go, yeah, they're the changes we're after. They're good. Let's go ahead and get the bot to write some code. All right, so this is the one. Can everyone cross their fingers? This is the big moment. Okay, and we're going to hit the build button, and here goes the bot writing some code. So there's Lampbot here. And what you're seeing here is a visual representation of the bot writing code across the file system. Okay, so Lampbot, as you can see, that's like the directory and file structure within that. And at that point in time, there we go, huzzah, the build is complete. You can roll over those nodes and actually see the files and everything and interact with them. For this particular build here, LampBot just wrote 11,000 lines of code in, what was that, like 5 seconds based on those changes. For a software engineer to write about 11,000 lines of code, we're talking quite a few days worth of effort to get to that point. So you can see the value gain already on what's going there. All right, next up, let's have a look at the chat, Leo. And LampBot reports back to us in the chat saying that the build's complete. You can also ask LampBot from within the chat, can you go ahead and build the code for me? You can ask LampBot to deploy your application, all those things from within the chat channel there. All right, so next up we're going to deploy. Okay, so we've made the changes, now we want to get it up into the live system. All right, so we go over to the environment section, and now we're going to do the deploy. To deploy the application, we haven't, to Maddie, where's Maddie? To Maddie's disappointment, we're only got it down to a 2-click deploy. He got very upset when he found out it was 2 clicks. It's going to be 1 click by public launch. So what we do to deploy, the first click is actually you click into this text area and write your changelog, and then the deploy is you actually just click the deploy to beta button here, and it'll be the same again. So at the moment, I'm saying congratulations, off you go, you're now deploying. So that's as easy as it's going to be to get your software from your local development environment up into a full cloud-based system. So that in itself is a huge time saving right there, which is very exciting. Now, after you've deployed, what we're just going to do is, for all the techies in the audience, you're probably wondering, well, how can I actually augment this code? To augment or add to the code, you can jump into the Git repository, and inside here you can see LampBot has made a bunch of commits to the repository as part of that process. And as a software developer, you can pull that repo and make changes to the code. The way that you can make changes to the code, so everything that the bot writes is 100% developer readable. So at any point in time, a software developer should be able to lift up the hood of the engine and understand what's going in underneath. So everything there is best practice. Right now, to add to the code, it's very simple. We've got these protected regions. Leo's just highlighting one there. So those protected regions are preserved, so the bot won't touch those protected regions. So what that means is, as the bot's going ahead and writing the code, they leave any of your code alone, and that allows the bot and the human to work together side by side. All right, so let's switch over to the target application. Okay, and we're going to do a refresh, and hopefully the deploy is done, and we're going to see the changes that we've made through the diagramming. There we go, changes in there. All right, so just 4 more points to show on the live demo. I'm pretty stoked, they're all the big things, so I can settle down on the inside now. It's all worked. 4 more things to quickly go through. So inside the management section, you've got your stories backlog. So this is where your requirements, where you express the intention of the software using text. So we use just epics and user stories like all good agile practices do. And inside here, this is where you edit and manage your backlog. So you can see here, we've got a bunch of story builders, and you can add descriptions, platforms, user levels, all these types of things, how you are going to express the intent of your software. All right, next up, we've got our testing section. So no software is complete without testing. Actually, when we do the deploy, if you don't have your tests done, I want LampBot to appear with a cowboy hat and go, "Yeehaw, are you sure you want to deploy?" So you can deploy without tests if you want. All right, so testing, here's your test. We've got a few tests we built earlier. So if we look inside one of these tests, what's a test look like? Okay, so this is what a test looks like now. Okay, we've actually used the programming language that is used to teach children how to program, called Scratch. Okay, so that means non-technical and technical people alike can actually write tests and contribute to their software. So as a non-technical person, what that means is you can jump on there, you can add your user acceptance testing in and make sure that those tests are run before you go through the deployment process. So you get to put guards around your software to make sure that the right thing's being done before it's actually deployed. And non-technical people can jump on here and do this. Okay, so it's a huge leaps there. Next up is we've got our traceability matrix, one of my favorite. That sounds very fancy, but what it is it's basically down the left-hand side you have your list of requirements. So these are all the things that the application is going to do. Across the top we have all our tests, and you say which tests. You simply click the checkboxes to say which tests apply to which requirements. Now why is that important? Okay, that leads straight into the health of your software. So on the dashboard now, now we can start getting some real interesting stats. So we can see how many tests you've got, how many are passing and failing, how many of those epics and user stories don't have tests, okay? And all these types of things. So that drives into the dashboard and the health of your software. Live demo done. Well done to Leo too and all the team for setting that up. Good work.